Board members, we're going to move right into our general consent calendar. This is the time for you, if you want something pulled, we'll remove it.
It's going to say Dr.
What's that?
It's going to say Dr.
Okay. Member Klein?
Pull 4.2.
Okay. I'm not seeing any other lights on, so I'd be seeking a motion. Okay. Member Cannon?
Yes, Chair, I move the passage of the general consent calendar minus the item that was pulled,
Which is 4.2.
4.2.
Okay, do it. Second? Any discussion to the motion? The motion before the board is that the board approves the general consent calendar with item 4.2 being removed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Voting is unanimous. Member Klein, you want to speak to 4.2? No? Okay. Member Hymas.
Yeah, can I ask a question about just a couple of the items within 4.2? And it'll probably,
Yeah.
well, I'll ask it and then we'll see who answers.
Okay.
On education direction, is that mandatory for LEAs to go through that training? Is it similar to like the early literacy training?
Okay. That's Yep. You want to, well, we'll go to staff, so state your name and go ahead. Name, title, and all that good stuff.
Tracy Van Deventer, Director of the Center for Continuous School Improvement. And on our consent for contracts, we have 4 different organizations that have put in a solicitation to provide some root cause analysis and comprehensive needs assessment for newly designated. So if I'm thinking of the correct item that you're referring to, I'm looking at item 3, comprehensive needs assessment, root cause analysis from progress monitoring services, if that's the ed direction reference that you're making in the contract?
Do you have a follow-up? Excuse me, do you have a follow-up?
It could be. It could be. It just says, on what I'm looking at, it just says ed direction. It's the third item down.
So we have an obligation by our ESSA state plan that we would do a deep analysis of the root causes of why a school may be underperforming. And we have invited, different organizations to apply to be that service, provide that service for our organization and for those schools. And our intent is, if these are approved, that these 4 different groups would then move and provide the support at the school, and we would do our best to try to match make as well, because some districts have had partnerships with these organizations before, so then they would move into that, not only the comprehensive needs assessment, root cause analysis, but then there's an ongoing progress monitoring as well.
And this is,
Yeah, please. Another follow-up.
thank you. So this, what I'm looking at has like 3 total sessions, winter, spring, fall. This, principals and supervisors, LEA leaders, ELA literacy coaches, this is what we're referring to. I want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, it might be that we're referring to a different one. I see a change management one also. That's the first vendor agreement on the agreements for board approval contracts, so that could be that you're referring to the first one. I'm referring to the third one.
Well, my concern, if I can bring it up before the board, is that I'm looking at these, I'm looking at what we're doing with early literacy, and we're having all of our teachers go through this training, which it's great. We voted and we're moving forward. And now we have this, and if I scroll down, it's just a scope of work for contract, and then it has principals, principal supervisors, and LEA leaders, ELA literacy coaches, 3 total sessions, taking up several hours throughout the day. I'm wondering if this is something that LEA's principal supervisors and LEA leaders, ELA literacy coaches are forced to go into and say, no, you are going to take this training, or is it something that the USB is going to provide on a voluntary basis?
Chair, if I may.
Please follow up.
So I think you are referring to a different contract. I think you're referring to on the board, the first item that's listed, that is the change management professional learning for LEA leaders. That's specific to and aligned with the early literacy. So I would refer then the expertise here to Rachel College.
Okay. To respond to a board member's question, name, rank, serial number, all that good stuff.
Okay. Rachel College, Educational Leadership Specialist here at the Utah State Board of Education. So your question, to respond to your question, yes, it's part of the SB 127 bill that requires our principals, our elementary principals, and their supervisor, and a leader from their LEA, the literacy specialist as well, to take that training. And so that was outlined in SB 127.
So even if I complained about this, it wouldn't matter?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Member Earl, your light's on.
Yeah, I have a question on, I guess my question is, did we end up with a rubric? I didn't see a rubric for measuring our Stronger Connections grant through the federal government. That's just going to happen down the road? Is that, that was kind of my concern last time, is I want to know what we're measuring this by, but.
Dr. Norman?
If you're speaking, Patty Norman, Deputy Superintendent of Student Achievement, if you're speaking to the Bipartisan Communities Grant, is that the
Yeah.
one you're referring to? At that grant, we do have Jody Parker, who's here, if there's more questions, but what we brought back this time was the definition of high needs, and then we weren't able to do the rubric in time because we would also need to be able to do at the same time the grant application as a rubric, so there wasn't enough time to do both. We do need to have that definition for high needs approved today so that it can be sent out, and then it would be incorporated in the December. And then Jody, you're here if I said any of that wrong.
Did you want to add to Dr.? Okay, please do.
Possible. Jody Parker, I am the Title IV Part A Coordinator at the Utah State Board of Education. May I answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. In order to build the rubric, we need to know what the definition is going to be. If the definition changes, it would completely change the rubric as well. We needed one before the other.
You have a follow-up?
I don't think so. I think, I mean, it's 2 or more of this listing, right? Okay, no, I don't think so.
Vice Chair Belknap?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 4.2 on the consent calendar.
Want to speak to your?
No.
Okay, the motion before the board is to approve all the items under 4.2 of the general consent calendar. Not seeing any discussion. So board members at this time, please, well, not please vote. I'll call this. I'm used to electronic meetings still. I've got it. I'm liking this. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? No. The noes, raise your hand. Okay, motion passes. Make sure I don't miss anything here. We're out of the general consent, monthly budget. Is that what you guys are saying?